Well, hello. It's been a little while since I posted an update last. I'm still hard at work on the house on the hill, and I'll give you a little update on that. But I have a new toy, and it's sitting right over here, and I thought I would give you my opinion on the Woodland Mills HM126 Sawmill. I've got it set up over here on the side of the lower yard, not far from the bungalow. And I just went up and cut an old tree down that the bugs were getting to. So I decided to harvest it before it was no good. So here's my little sawmill. It has the extension so it could cut a potential 16-foot log, although boy, it would be tight. I don't need to tell you how it works. There are like 100 videos out there. This is the 2017 model. I bought it used from a fellow in Georgia. It has the manual on-off for the blade lubrication. And other than that, it's about the same as what you would buy right now. Well, maybe one other thing. I still need to put a torque wrench on here to check my blade tension. Now, how does this thing compare to the other sawmills out there? These days, there are so many choices if you're thinking about a sawmill. It's a good and a bad thing because it can drive you crazy. Oh boy, there's Wood Max, they're $4,000. There's Wood Miser. There's Norwood. Trusty Harbor Freight for a couple $1,000s. There's American Made. I use quotation marks on that. Imported or imported and assembled here. Take your pick. This sawmill right here, complete without the extension on there, is about $3,200. You probably have it shipped to your door for $35. Honestly, it's the best value out there. And now that I own it, and I've climbed on it, and I've actually stood on it, and I've used it, I have to tell you, this thing is just as good as anything out there, and in some ways, it's better. I can't prove it, but I think there's basically one company producing a whole bunch of sawmills for everybody. Look at some of the components that you'll see on other sawmills. This wheel. Look at this interesting mechanism to raise and lower the carriage. It extends in and out with some pulleys, and that raises and lowers this thing. You'll see that in a different location, for example, on the Wood Max. You know, I got the whole song and dance from Wood Miser. There's a dealer not far from here. Why I should buy theirs and spend $2,000 more for the same size mill. Look inside here. This actually has larger band wheels than the Wood Miser. Go online and look at a picture of a Wood Miser. They're exactly the same setup. Absolutely identical. And I know the Wood Miser guys are going to get all mad, but that's tough. The track's different. You know, it's a little simpler. Piece of angle, nice bunks. The simplicity of the angle makes it easy for you to add on your own extra sections of track, which is a real plus. No, I really stressed out over which saw to buy, you know. I mean, no guy in their right mind wants to have the smallest tool with the weakest motor. We want overkill. We want this thing to cut 3-foot logs and have a 25-horse electric start fuel injected engine. Well, this one here has got like a, what is it, a 9.5 Kohler. So far, it has run like butter through whatever I've put up here. Yellow poplar goes right through it like nothing. So I really don't think that if I had spent $2,000 more on the entry-level Wood Miser, they tell you it's 4. right? But then they have to upsell you because there's things nobody tells you. You know how long one of those blades last? Do you know? I didn't know. I didn't know until I owned the sawmill. One of those blades is only good for 3 or 4 hours. That's it. You wouldn't even get through a day of cutting. The water keeps the blade cool. Well, you can run the blade longer, run it. Well, it gets little cracks in the valleys if you run it too long. So you have to buy a pack of 10 blades, and you're going to blow $300 just on the blades. You've got to have a cant hook to move this thing around. You've got to buy the bed extension. They say it cuts 10 foot. If you are really skilled with your tractor and you can get this log on here within an inch of that blade and use every millimeter of the track, yeah, you could maybe cut 10 feet. This is supposedly cuts 16 foot 6. I'm comfortable with 12, 14, 16. You'd have to be really meticulous. It's great for what it is. Here's something else they don't tell you. Now you see this blade tensioner. When I turn this clockwise, it pulls back on this assembly that holds the bearing that holds the band wheel. Well, when I tighten this right here to pull it back, it actually cants this pulley slightly this way. So, if I'm not using the proper torque wrench, the blade comes off and blows everything to pieces, which I discovered the hard way. The newer ones have some sort of a sight right here to help you. But what most people don't tell you is that the blade tension is really important. You can't just do it by hand and then eyeball it and guess and call it good and go ahead. One other little thing that most of us don't think about and hardly anybody talks about is how long do you have to wait to use this wood you're cutting? You imagine yourself felling trees and putting up barns and building kitchen cabinets, and well, you do have to wait. You've got to put this stuff up on sticks. You need to have room to store it. I was surprised how much space I needed. And there are two schools of thought. Yeah, you can use green wood. There are a whole bunch of instances where green or fairly green, a couple weeks out drying, is just fine. But if you're going to cut hardwood and you're thinking about cabinets or other projects where you'd want the wood nice and dry, you're looking at potentially months of drying. If you can get it indoors, and it won't be a huge stack, because who's got a house that big? You've got to wait. And one thing that I found oddly difficult is I have all these things going on, but I've got a tree right now that I'm going to cut down. Well, I have to know what I'm going to do with it 2 months from now. What project is it? Do I need 8 footers, 10 footers, 12 footers, 2x4s, 4x4s, 6x6, 4x6? Do I need boards? Do I need board and bats? You have to really plan more than you think. You watch the videos of these happy-go-lucky guys rolling logs on their machines and cutting away and having a ball making sawdust. And there actually is a fair amount of thought that goes into it, which can be kind of the fun part if you enjoy planning. But if you're just willy-nilly, you're just going to have a whole pile of boards that you're going to have to recut or give away, or you're not sure what to do with them. Now, I'm going to cut this log up, but I want to take you up the hill, show you some updates on the house. And I dragged an old crappy log out of the woods and cut it up, and I want to show you what it turned out to be. It'll surprise you. So I'm out for a walk in the woods on the back side of the property, and I discovered a possible treasure. Walking down one of my trails, that I like to walk the grandkids on, and I discover there's a tree across our trail that needs to be cleaned up. Looks like the wind blew it over and it was old and already quite dead, but upon closer examination, this thing is solid as a rock. What do you say we cut it up, pull it out, and see if we can't reclaim it using the sawmill? All I have is my big Case 580 backhoe right now. This trail's a bit narrow and precipitous. Well, let's see if I can get the machine back there and get a chain on that tree. Well, I did get the old machine down here. I only took out one tree. So here's my proposed reclamation log. I'm going to cut them into, I don't know, maybe 10-foot lengths, and then see if we can't pull it out. Boy, log's in decent shape. All right, now I've got 3 nice 10.5-foot logs. Nice is a subjective term. Here's a sneak peek at the wood. Look at this. It's like a nice oak, solid. Let's see what we get when we hit the sawmill. Well, we got her cut. She's all hooked up. Let's see if we can get out of here. Them logs are heavier than you think. They didn't look like much compared to this machine, but on an incline with that weight back there, they're rolling me over. My front wheels are off the ground, so I gotta reposition the hoe and try to rebalance. Sketchy. That's better. It's tight up through here. We gotta dodge a few trees. We're making it. Well, now I just gotta unhook the chain and we'll put the forks back on and take them down the hill. I just blew about probably 45 minutes running up in the woods, cutting that up and dragging it out. So maybe an hour has gone by. It's sitting on the mill. If I get 1 or 2 decent oak boards out of this log, it'll be a success. You know what oak goes for? Anyway, let's give it a try, and let's see if this sawmill can earn some of its pay. Well, a few minutes later, I've got a nice oak 5x5 beam sitting here, and some oak boards I can cut up. Now I think I'll just cut this down into 5 1x5s. Boy, that'd make nice oak trim, oak baseboard, all kinds of things we could do with it. That's just out of a junk old tree laying in the woods. Here's a stack I cut. 98% of that is one tree we felled when we were making the driveway. All right, I promised you an update on the house. I haven't cleaned up any messes in there, but I'm gonna take you inside anyway and show you what I have been up to in case you were wondering. Got another little stack drying out here, and this was the very first wood I cut. And it was another junk log I dragged out of the woods just as an experiment. And I've got a piece of this I've got to show you when we get inside. Let's go in. Now pardon the mess, it's bad. This is the mess that will be a family room. And what I've done, while the rest of the house is still a skeleton, I promised I would get my girls' bedrooms and bathroom done. So I have been working down here doing that. This is sheetrocked. Got a bathroom done. It's hard to fit it in the camera, but I built a custom shower. Tiled it. I poured my own pan. Made a little shampoo window. I've got one more coat of paint to do. Sink will be there. And we'll head out. I'm gonna have a water heater under here. Got my water valves. I got Kim in here. She's working on her bedroom. Hers is the farthest along. Hello. So, need a wide angle lens. I can't get this in here. But anyway, we got the bedroom going on. And I got this one taped. Closet and all. So, making progress. I already have the tile sitting right there for each room. We're going to tile the entire area. Now I'll walk you back out. We came in right there. This will be our little family room, which is full of everything. I'm going to have a violin shop in here, and I've been using this to store motorcycles and plain wood, and you know how it is. Let's go upstairs so I can show you what I was going to show you. Well, you know, it's crazy hard to video inside a small space like a house without a fancy lens, and right now I'm just using my phone. So we're upstairs in what will be the living room. We have a cathedral ceiling going on. I'm standing in the kitchen, and what I did is I've added some beams up here. I wanted some beams to add some character to the room, so it's not just a big cathedral ceiling. We've joined them and done some pegs, and I think it's going to look nice. We'll have a little loft up here where that old-fashioned ladder is sitting. We're going to use that for a decoration in here. I know it's a mess. I was going to clean up, and I decided I'll just be real. So I'm standing over here at the front of the house. Here's my view out the front door. There's the bungalow, and the sawmill is down there in the shadows. So here we are inside again. We'll just pan around. There's the kitchen. There's an island there. There's my nice beams. All right, now I promised to show you something up here. When I first got that sawmill, I just grabbed the first junk log I could find. It was in the edge of the woods. We had tossed it there in 2017. Pulled it out, and I used it to experiment and saw up my very first boards, and I don't know. I thought we'd make a chicken coop out of it, or who knows. Anyway, they've been drying outside for probably 6 weeks. And I grabbed a board just for fun, and I thought, you know what? Let's plane it. Let's see what it looks like. Well, check out what this stuff looks like. Now here's the board I started with, right here. And here's the board after running through the planer. It is just gorgeous, purple and green and all the little wormholes, just beautiful. I have a couple other examples to show you. We cut down a tree on day one. It turned out to be a little cherry tree. And here's a piece of it. Here's a piece of it run through the planer. Does not do it justice on the camera. It's just beautiful. And then I cut up some pieces of that poplar with the wormholes in it. Also absolutely gorgeous. And here's this oak that we just harvested out of the woods. There was a fallen tree destined to rot, and nothing would come of it, but we've pulled it out. And I've got quite a few feet of some lovely oak now that's drying. Well, behind me you can see I've got materials for a custom shower up here. I've got insulating to do, insulation, ceiling, walls, interior walls, kitchen, and then we'll talk trim and flooring and paint, and it's going to be endless. But anyway, I'm making progress. I haven't been sitting idle, and I thought I'd just show you around and let you kind of see what I've been up to. So, what do I think of my Woodland Mills HM126? It is a fantastic sawmill for the money. Do I wish it had roller blade guides? No. You know, the Norwood has solid blade guides all the way up to their great big ones. In fact, I converted my big bandsaw in the wood shop from roller to solid blade guides. It was more accurate. These are wonderful. So don't get upsold on the roller guide thing. And truly, look at the other sawmills in this class. I really think somebody out there is either making all of these or supplying the parts. I don't think you can beat this for its $3,100 plus. I think they have a flat rate shipping under $300, and then add on a piece of track, get a box of blades, and a cant hook for $100 or make one. You really can't beat it. I'm glad we added it to our little estate here, and I'm glad I could show you progress on the house. And you know, I keep getting more ideas for fiddles and guitars, like that beautiful wormy yellow poplar I showed you up there. Something's in the works. I've got to get a little farther along and get my wife's kitchen going and all. And I will definitely be building some more instruments. I'll see you later.